Hi everyone, welcome to the art room. Today I'm going to show you how to make one of these beautiful yarn covered tree sculptures. For this project you'll need some sticks from the yard, well actually just one, but you'll probably want to pick from a few different ones. I'm going to use this one here. You'll also need some yarn, scissors, probably some Elmer's glue, and a piece of styrofoam or clay to stick the tree into so it stands up. First, what I'm going to do is take out a bunch of yarn and roll it into little balls. This will make it much easier to work with and keep the whole yarn spool from getting extra tangled. You'll just have little balls to work with instead. After you make all the yarn into little balls, you can start wrapping it around the tree branch. You want to wrap the tail up in the yarn so that it doesn't unravel at the bottom. You just tuck it under and then start wrapping on top of the tail end of the yarn. And then you just wrap it around the stick. You can either twist the stick or wrap the yarn. Once you're done, you can make a loop and tuck the yarn under the loop to hold it tight, and then pick another color. You can do your whole tree in one color or a lot of different colors. Sometimes the branches start getting in the way of what you're doing and it makes it a little slow. You can trim these branches a little shorter, but if you like them long, it's worth the effort. On this one here, I don't think the whole branch is worth the effort, so I'm just going to snip a little bit of it off at the end. When you get to a split in the branch, you can either stop and tie the yarn off or move the yarn and start wrapping it around another branch. Here I'm just doing one color of yarn at a time, but if you'd like, you could do this with two colors of yarn at a time. Notice how I have the ball of yarn in my hand? I didn't have it like this at first, but this makes it much easier to wrap up the branch. So when you've got to the end of the yarn you're using, remember to tie a loop at the end. I'm going to leave some length so I can tie it, and then loop it over my finger a little, and then tuck the yarn through the loop and pull it tight. I'm going to move on to some of the other branches here, and then I'll show you how to tie it off again in a little bit. This one, I have a long piece that I've wrapped a little bit loosely around, and then I'm wrapping over it with the other piece to hold it tight on there. If that little tail seems too long, you can always cut it a little shorter. I'll snip it off and then tie it off by making a loop in the yarn, tucking the tail through and pulling it tight. Now I'm going to line up the two tails together and then wrap over it. And then when I need to tie it off, I'll make a loop around my finger, tuck the yarn through and pull it tight. Later you're going to want to put a little bit of glue at all of the tied off ends to make sure it stays. We'll see again here how to tie it off. So you wrap it around your finger, you can cut off the extra now, and then you tuck the tail behind and through. This one's a little tangled up, behind and through, and pull it tight. Then you can add a little glue, or around that tail you can wrap another color. We're almost done. This is looking really good. I can't wait to decorate my room with it. So take the tail, wrap it around, tuck it through the loop, and pull it tight. Now, what I'm going to do is find some Elmer's glue. This part's optional, but if you cut the yarn really close, it will come unraveled. So I'm going to take some Elmer's glue and just put a little dot of glue where all the tails are sticking out, and then when it dries, I can trim off the excess. Now you have a beautiful tree sculpture that you can hold in your hand, but if you want it to stand up on its own, you could find something like styrofoam or clay. Poke a hole in the middle. This styrofoam's fun because it's silver on one side. So I poked the hole with scissors and then stuck the end of the tree in it. And now the tree will stand up on its own on my mantelpiece or on a shelf in my bedroom. I hope you enjoyed this, and I can't wait to see the projects that you create.